the more I teach this stuff, the more I understand it, of course, because the brilliant thing about teaching is that you're learning as you teach as well. And all these years I've had teaching the same stuff, my own understanding, if you like, becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. And so whilst to the beginner there might seem that there are so many things to remember to do with vocal technique, how could you possibly ever pull your act together and get it all sorted? Well, of course you can, but you do have to really start to get kind of allow yourself the privilege of understanding that there are many different components, but actually they are all linked. It got me thinking about my technique tip for this week, because it's helpful to you if you can see some continuity between the things that I'm mentioning. But of course, bear in mind that ultimately they are all linked, and in my head I see them quite clearly linked, and it might be a while before my messages finally get through to you, but I'm hoping that you don't see this as a major oversight on your part as a vocalist. This is just part of your rich learning curve to do with overcoming these things, to do with your singing. There's a wonderful, I don't know how often you go to my website, but I saw it there again this morning. I'm just quickly going. How annoying, it's gone. It's something like, don't feel you have to control everything, trust the process and let it go. Okay, we can learn as much as we possibly can about technique, but ultimately what you're hoping is that you're acquiring knowledge in the event that when you sing, eventually you can just take that leap and try out what you know, the residual information that you have in your brain, and see how you fare. Okay, it's like David always used to say to me, it's another thing working in the studio, but when you're actually performing, you know, you just got to step into those performing shoes and not worry about your vocal technique. Easy to say, eh? Okay, so today, the technique tip of the day, C, connection. Okay, so let's just have a look at that infographic. If I just pause this video a moment. Okay, so a little bit different sound-wise, I should think, because I've switched cameras. Okay, so this is Technique Tuesday, the connection, maintaining the airflow to the source of the sound. Now that is something you will be very, very familiar with. Now here's the thing, synchronicity of flow between posture, breath and support. Okay, now this is a big deal, the synchronicity of flow between posture, breath and support. Now what does that actually mean? Okay, let's hold that thought a moment. So what it actually means is that what you're aiming for when you are thinking about maintaining the airflow to the source of the sound, that there are certain things which are happening in the body to support your idea of maintaining the airflow to the source of the sound. The infographic today, which is all about maintaining the airflow to the source of the sound, you know that, and that's something we know that you are striving for. But what is missing in the prose and the spoken word is the synchronicity of flow between the posture, the breath and the support. So sometimes there's a little kind of thought that comes in which just sabotages how you actually maintain your airflow to the end of the sentence. From this wonderful book again, Your Voice and How to Use It Successfully, he says, good voice work, on the other hand, I believe, should always aim to use the voice that is there and stretch it and open up its possibilities so that it does not limit the personality. We will find that the sound of the voice and the speech relate so much to each other that they are not separate. Did you get that? So the sound of the voice and the speech, so how you speak and how you sound is really they are inextricably linked, I believe is the phrase. And then she goes on to say, however, for our own clarity, at the moment we will talk about each one separately. And she has a whole section about the spoken word. And I wanted to flick forward and go to where she starts to talk about good sound. And by good sound, she's meaning She means about the quality of the tone of the voice itself, the timbre, if you like, and its individuality. Now, this is where you each need to think about your speaking voice in relation to your singing voice, because they are truly wedded. Truly, truly wedded. And this is something that I have only probably in the last 5 years, a bit more maybe, have really taken this on board. That my speaking voice is my singing voice, my singing voice is my speaking voice, and they both need my attention. And she goes on to say, what I call a good voice is one that is open and reveals the person. It is when the whole physical being of the person is reflected in the voice. And this happens when you allow yourself to be open to the breath. See what I mean? There is this kind of circle of information and kind of logic to do with using your voice well, and it's all to do with the same thing. So I think earlier in the week I had mentioned, I know when it was in my Facebook live, in the live video I mentioned a little infographic that I had seen that morning. It was to do with, in fact I think it is actually in my book. Shall I have a little look? Free the neck, release the jaw, lengthen the spine, unclench the buttocks and soften the knees. Now this is balanced alignment. Now when you get all of that posture sorted, which is an ongoing thing, which is why we always start out our warm-ups thinking about it, then once all of that, all the alignment issues start to come into focus and become automatic, okay, then you start to get this synchronicity of flow between posture, breath and support. The one thing becomes the next and becomes the next, so that you then don't have to even think about it. Now, as a parting shot, you've got to trust in the process and not try to control everything. Yes, we're learning technique, and yes, there's a whole loads of things to learn, but actually you've got to trust and just drink it in and just keep coming back to it, keep coming back to it. Yes, the subject matter is vast, but you know, you've got to just go with the flow, keep questioning, keep enjoying, and just do the do, okay? Just really step into those shoes. More soon. Bye for now.